Hello and welcome to Ringside Reality. I'm your host, Jonathan Lilly, and I'm here with my co-host, Christopher White.
It's me again, everybody. I'm back.
I actually said Christopher that time too, and I'm surprised you never bitched about it.
Well, I'm getting used to it now, apparently, because you got everybody calling me Christopher now. All the people that listen to this podcast start calling me Christopher.
Well, that's your born name. I mean,
Yeah, but how many times have I called you Jonathan?
never.
By the way, why don't you tell everybody how weird your name is spelled? You don't need to spell it with an O, I don't think, do you?
I spell it with O at the end instead of an A.
Jonathan?
Yeah, so most people spell it Jonathan,
Oh, I see.
and I spell mine Jonathon.
Why?
I don't know. That's how mom and dad spelled it.
Well,
I guess it's like I guess it's like my sister too. Most people spell Krista Christa,
Yeah.
but she spells hers Krista.
Yeah,
So I guess they had to be different. I guess.
Well, I found out that recently, like the last couple of weeks, that Christopher, just short for Christopher, is Topher, apparently. So,
Topher. Yeah, remember we talked about the other day? I was like Topher.
So, because there's people now that I guess it's like a new thing because people still want to call their kids like some old school names because everybody's kid these days is like old friggin' Exhaust and Mountain and Apple and all this old shit that people comes up with for names. But if someone wants to still use an old school name now to try to put like a spin on it, I suppose. So like Christopher now, you can still call your kid Christopher, but you call him Topher. I'm like, all right. So I'm surprised that you haven't started calling me Topher yet. To be honest with you.
That sounds absolutely horrible. Sounds like a dog's name, Topher.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'd name a dog.
You think it's a good name for me to name my dog?
The only Topher that I can think of that's famous would be Topher Grace.
Who?
The guy from that 70s show.
Oh yeah. Well, you mean was famous.
Or was.
Yeah, but
He was,
that's the
he's
question I got. If
famous.
anybody can find out, because does that mean his real name is? I always thought his name was actually Topher, man. But does that mean his real name is actually Christopher? The whole time?
That's just so weird. Topher. I wouldn't say. You don't say Chris Topher. Like, that's not your name. Chris Topher. It's Christopher.
Yeah, but like if you say it in a sentence like Chris Topher, so you know what I mean? Like, hi, my name is Christopher, or Topher. Hey, that's weird. I don't know. That's fucking horrible conversation.
That's like shortening my name to Thon instead of John.
That's not bad, actually.
Thon?
We should call this the whole Topher and Thon show.
Topher and Thon. That'd be a deadly old name.
That's way better.
That's our tag name.
Friggin'
Topher and Thon.
We could probably be old jobber tag team in WWE, old Topher and Thon.
Go and get eaten by Braun Strowman and Nia Jax.
Well, they're saying, I'm pretty sure that it's the WWE's way of being LGBTQ. They just, as soon as Braun Strowman goes back, he dresses up as a woman and comes out as Nia Jax.
He's actually a transgender.
Oh boy, like you said last night, because you were watching wrestling last night, you was messaging me, and when Nia Jax came out and took on a jobber, he was like, so this is basically Braun Strowman, and I looked at her, I'm like, it's the same person, except for one's got tits.
Yes.
Really?
Literally, they're pushing it exactly the same way. Both of them come out, they squash jobbers, and that's it. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. They should give them they should be a love interest or something. Maybe they bond over their squashing of jobbers.
Maybe
So
it could be like
he squashes a jobber, and she gets all turned on when he squashes jobber, and he does it, and she does the same thing.
Yeah, that would see. The thing is, if this was like 15 years ago, they probably would have done something stupid like that because, yeah, it could be like Pulp Fiction. Remember, they used to get turned on by robbing restaurants together.
Yeah.
Well, instead of that, they just go and squash jobbers and get all turned on.
That's how he gets all turned on.
Do it for me, baby. Squash it for me, baby.
She's out by the ring like moaning and stuff.
Like old Sleepless in Seattle. She's like, ah, ah.
Well, he picks Buddy up by the back and then does the reverse choke slam. She orgasms at the bottom of the ring.
That's not a bad story. At least it'd be entertaining anyway, which is more they can say about something.
Well, they're not going anywhere with them. I mean, Nia Jax, she'll squash people now until she gets a title shot.
They should lose.
I think she'll lose the first one. They're going to eventually give her the title.
I don't even
maybe
know
like
why.
a year from now
like,
or so.
I don't even know why. Like these people that get pushed just because they're like, you know how there's like used to be like the three things like that you needed like I guess charisma, mic skills, and like interview skills. These days, if you got like one thing, they just go with you. Like why? Just tell me. Nia Jax, she's big, but is there anything else that she does? Like she's just big. Is she getting pushed just because she's big? Like Braun Strowman, same thing. Is he just getting a push basically because he's fucking huge? That's it.
I guess so. I mean,
he doesn't even talk, does he?
They didn't give Nia Jax the NXT Women's title though.
Oh, she didn't have that?
Sure. No, she lost to Bayley twice, and she lost to Asuka. So maybe they're just gonna have her like one of those people who just comes near it but never gets it. I don't know.
Maybe.
But
well, I'm sure someday
in all honesty, if they wanted to make it realistic, you put Nia Jax against Sasha Banks. Who's gonna win in a real fight?
Yeah.
I mean, Nia Jax lays on top of her and she's gonna beat her.
Yeah, she could pretty much just put her down and just lay on top and that's it.
She's 4 times her size.
Well, it's like, but that's kind of like the whole argument that we have sometimes anyways. Like, it's not really, it's hard. Like, remember when you were a kid, like when I was a kid, like part of the reason why I think I started watching wrestling was because of, like, I had to suspend my disbelief though. But you know what I mean? Like there was that part that you thought was kind of real even though you knew it was fake. And even when we got older and teenagers and stuff, like when wrestlers are able to make you believe that something's actually happening, that's when they're like really good or the angle's really good. And it's kind of like these days it's kind of weird because you're trying to like, you almost got to suspend your disbelief to the point of you just know this is a fake show, don't even work, like it's like you don't even try to make it remotely real anymore. Like, let's be honest, like it is real when like, yes, Braun Strowman comes out and destroys old James Ellsworth or whatever, like that's hilarious and that actually would happen, so I don't even mind that because that's fucking hilarious. But I don't know.
But I know what you're saying. Big Show, if you're looking at this as an actual fight, I mean, Big Show would be the champion probably.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I said last
Lesnar,
night. Like, I'm like, why
Mark
isn't Brock Lesnar? I don't understand. Like, I don't understand how you got Brock Lesnar on your roster, seriously, and he's being paid by you, and he's held the belt like once or twice in like the last. He came back in 2011, I think, or 2012. So how that guy's not your champion all the fucking time? It just makes no sense to me. Not only that, it's not only because he's big, but he's a draw too. But like seriously, man, like shouldn't Brock Lesnar be the champion? Like at least going for that's the Universal one we were talking about. Like this is the big moment in wrestling, like the first ever Universal champion. Brock Lesnar's not even fighting for a belt. He's fighting Randy Orton for some reason. Like, wow. If you ask me,
I still don't understand why.
SummerSlam, man. Like,
I still don't understand why Randy Orton and Brock Lesnar are fighting.
Because it's the only big. Well, I
yeah,
know.
But I mean, I know why they put it together, but I'm trying to understand the storyline of why are they why are they trying to explain why they're fighting? Just because they never fought before? I think they tried to explain it that Orton said that when he came back, he wanted to fight the biggest guy in the back in the locker room, so he picked Lesnar because Lesnar's the biggest guy. So Orton wanted to prove himself by fighting. That's what he said. I think he said that on the highlight reel at Battleground.
Well,
and
that's stupid.
I guess what they're trying to explain that, all right, he wants to come back and take on the biggest dog or whatever. But wouldn't he come back and be like, all right, I want to take on Dean Ambrose because he's champion?
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, it just this SummerSlam card is fucking weird to me, man. Like, I don't even like. I was more excited, honestly, for like Money in the Bank and the last few kind of B pay-per-views. This is the weirdest card. I don't even know. Like you said it last night, it's almost like when they put Orton and Lesnar together, they kind of pigeonhole the rest of the card almost. Because it seems like I just don't understand this card at all. I don't understand why. Like Reigns, so Reigns and Rusev. Now I said last night, Reigns getting suspended might be the best thing that ever happened to him, and getting de-pushed because this push that he's getting down to the mid card. I got a feeling it's going to work out good for him because I think he's going to start getting a little bit more sympathy knowing that he's not going after the title all the time. But that match is a throw together. Like, let's be honest, there's not really like you just talked about it. There's no reason for that match to be happening. Really, I mean, it's 3 weeks from SummerSlam, and he started it up last night, basically because Rusev and Reigns have nothing to do. Lesnar and Orton is weird. Like I said last night, I think that I don't know what. Like, isn't Randy Orton a crazy viper? Like, just sadistic, fucking heat. Remember when he was heel, going around putting people in the face and shit?
Yeah.
Like Ambrose is a lunatic, and he's a face. Like I don't. That's almost. And Orton's just coming back, so he's fresh. People aren't sick of him. Like Ambrose versus Orton, heel Orton is that's the most obvious thing. I can't see what, and they're on the same show, man. I don't know. It's a weird card. Like I don't know what they've got done really.
It's very strange because you have Dolph Ziggler versus Ambrose, which is a face versus a face.
Well, I think Ziggler's gonna go heel like tonight.
He got to because
I think he's gonna say though, no matter. I think he's gonna just turn on the fans and be like, oh.
Well, he kind of alluded to it on Twitter.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like that thing about.
If you check there, because he was talking about people were complaining about how he got the title shot, and he was like, "Well, you bitched for me to get it, and once I got it, now you're complaining that I got it."
Yeah, I think that was a little bit of foreshadowing or something. Well, really, man, if they don't put him heel, then even as a heel, this match is fucking main event of like SmackDown or like a Raw. That's all this is. But face Ziggler versus face or Ambrose. Horrible. That's like the second hour of Raw main event. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's not good at all.
So that match is weird. The Balor Rollins one it's a little bit weird to me too. I just don't even know what to think about that. Like,
the dynamic is there that it's a heel versus face. I understand that because.
But the dynamic's there, but it's just weird. Like, I don't know if it's because I'm not used to Balor. Like, I don't know. It's weird. It just doesn't have the buzz of like. I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's weird. Well, it's just a weird card. Like, I don't know Balor that much, so I'm just like, what's going on here? Like,
Balor's not a big name in WWE yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's not fresh with the fans, the casual fans, or the fans who don't really watch. You know,
but how the hell do you put someone in the main event, the second biggest show of the year, that's familiar with like 30% of your audience?
Well, that's what I mean. Weird. I don't know if it's just because Triple H is a merc for him a bit. You know what I mean, and just putting him in that position and hoping that he can pull it off. He's not going to win.
No, he's not going to win. But
I'd honestly bet $1 million that Seth Rollins is going to win that match.
Yeah, they're not going to put the belt on Balor. But
no. And I don't think Balor's going to be in that, even the main event for the next little bit. I think Rollins wins, and then Balor moves on to Jericho afterwards.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is I agree with you, and I think that's going to happen, which makes this even more puzzling. Is if they're not going to stick him in and keep him there, which I don't think they're going to, then they're throwing away their second biggest pay-per-view of the year and a guy that they're just going to put back in the mid-card come fucking Monday Night Raw after SummerSlam, which I think is what they're going to do. So it's just weird. Who
do you think's going to take on Rollins afterwards, though? Lesnar? Well, because Lesnar's not around, so it's not going to be Lesnar.
I don't know. Like Rollins and Lesnar should be the main event of SummerSlam. I don't know how the hell is not. Rollins is a heel. Lesnar is kind of a face. He got this Suplex City thing. Everyone chants Suplex City. Lesnar's not a heel. Everyone loves the guy. He's the biggest name they got. And it's SummerSlam, it's Universal. I don't know how he's not. Him and Rollins is a big money match. So
let's talk about something for a second. You just mentioned Suplex City, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard anybody else in wrestling say Suplex City before him?
I don't know off the top of my head. Because I don't think so.
I know where he must have got it from this. I was watching on the WWE Network the other day. They had SummerSlam 91 was on.
Mm-hmm.
And in one of the matches, I think it was DiBiase suplexed Virgil, and Gorilla Monsoon said, "Looks like he's taking him to Suplex City." And as soon as he said it, I was like, "Holy shit!" I was like, "Lesnar ripped off Gorilla Monsoon
from 25 years ago."
25 years ago, he said Suplex City. I couldn't believe it. I was like, "Holy shit!" So this is where Suplex City come from, apparently.
Well, most likely that's probably where he got it from, some little comment like that or something.
Well,
it wouldn't surprise me.
It shocked me. I rewound it and watched it over. I was like, okay.
What was it from? SummerSlam 91?
91, yeah. I'm not sure exactly if that was the match, but it was one of the matches. He said Suplex City in the match.
He actually said he's going to take him to Suplex City?
Yeah, I think he said he's taking him to Suplex City because he suplexed him off the middle rope or something, right? Like a superplex.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's taking him to Suplex City, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, he should be getting royalties for that because that's all Lesnar's gimmick is these days, isn't it? Or Monsoon's dead though, isn't it?
Monsoon's dead, yeah.
He's not getting royalties for it. Yeah,
Suplex. And then we're going to talk about, remember last week, the Wherewithal?
I heard it once.
Well, at least once, man. But however, how many times have you ever heard it said? So between last week and last night, how many times have you heard it? Once. Said by them on that show. Nobody in life says that word.
The only time I ever remember that word was maybe like once or twice I heard it watching wrestling growing up. And I mean, I'm talking about like a shot in the dark here. It was just something that I might have heard. And someone said he had the wherewithal to know where he was. And you wouldn't hear it again for like 5 years, man. Like I might have.
Corey Graves.
The thing is, I don't even know if I heard. Like I'm saying, I might have heard it. I don't even know if I did. Corey Graves said the first 15 minutes of Raw last night.
He said it, and I was like, okay. He said wherewithal already. And like I said, nobody else says that word. I've only ever heard it on wrestling. And it's only like Corey Graves, Michael Cole, Saxton, or JBL says it. think I might have heard Mauro Ranallo say it once or twice.
I know Saxon says it for sure.
Yeah. Only wrestling commentators say wherewithal, apparently.
Yeah, I've never heard anyone in the general public having a regular conversation say wherewithal before. God,
I would say, I don't even know how I'd say it in a context. I would say he has, I don't know, man, like the ring awareness is what I usually hear. So if somebody knows, let's say you hit somebody, they take a bump and they roll out of the ring, they had the ring awareness to know where they were in the ring. But now they say they had the wherewithal to know where they were.
Yeah, it's weird. Like the times I've heard it, it would say something like, I think the only time I've ever heard it, well, before you mentioned it, and now they say it all the time, was when a guy used to put his foot on the rope, and then the commentator would say he had the wherewithal to know where he was in the ring, so he put his foot on the rope.
I remember years ago they used to say ring awareness, like you had the ring awareness, or the experience to know where you were in the ring.
Goddamn word! I never heard anyone say that before in my fucking life, mate.
Never. I did it. I texted you on my phone the last night, and it auto-corrected it to wherewithal, but it's WHEREWITHAL, not ALL.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it's a word, but I've never seen it. Even like going to school, like junior, middle school and high school and stuff. I've never seen it in a book or a spelling test or an English class or anything. Yeah. Wherewithal, I've never heard of it.
No, I was going to do that.
We grew up in Newfoundland. So they don't know big words like wherewithal.
They don't know big words like at.
Yeah. School.
Television.
It's too big of a word.
Once it goes over like 2 syllables, that's it.
Yeah.
But speaking of Newfoundland, Finn Balor came out last night and represented our friggin' province like never before. I thought he was straight up from friggin' goddamn dildo somewhere.
He sounds exactly like a Newfoundlander.
Well, he sounded like he came out of Joe Bat's arm like right off the boat. He's like, "What are you, boys? Anyway, I think they're going to take title for you tonight, buddy." I was like, "All right." And then,
when he said tinks, I tinks.
Tings, he said too. He said tings too.
And he said tinks. He said, "I tinks I'm gonna do. On tinks I'm gonna beat you." And I was like,
and he said, okay. "You don't know the tings I'm gonna do to you."
The tings.
And I was like,
when he said kick, when I'm gonna kick your ass, I for sure thought he was gonna say, "I'm gonna kick your arse."
Well, he's probably trying not to be super stereotype, even though, so here's the thing about that. This is the funny part about it is, probably 6 months ago, we were messaging each other, and I never watched a lot of them. Like I said, I don't really know too much about it, but you were like, when he comes to the main roster, because I really only kind of realized he was Irish not long ago. You're like, as long as they don't have him speak. And I really didn't know what you were talking about. You're like, oh, because he's Irish. And I was like, oh, yeah. And he's like, oh, man, once he starts talking, it's hard to take him serious. So you kind of it was like a precursor, he was a little prelude to what happened. So last night when he came out, I didn't know how thick his accent was or anything, really. I never heard him talk, to be honest with you. Maybe a couple of times, but not even a full-on promo in the middle of the ring. And when he started talking, he didn't do too bad. He's not great on the mic or anything. But it wasn't bad, but it was kind of fucking hilarious, actually, because he doesn't look... Does he... I don't know if you can look Irish, I guess red hair and stuff, but pale and all that shit. He doesn't look that Irish. He looks American almost. He comes out and you're like, oh, he's this guy... The casual fans last night that never heard him talk must thought that was hilarious, no? As soon as... You probably think he's from Brooklyn somewhere, and he comes out, he's like, "Larry boy, your name is huh?" And you're like, what?
I think it doesn't fit well with the demon character that he's supposed to be portraying eventually.
Well, they don't know that yet, though, the people.
No, but he's supposed to be taken seriously. And listen, I know that I got an accent, and especially where I'm living in Newfoundland right now. When I'm in Alberta or Ontario, my accent kind of goes away a little bit. But since I've been home and around everybody, my accent's coming out a bit more. I know my accent's not is horrible sometimes, but he's on a major stage like that. I look at him and I can't really take him as a serious threat because I hear the accent. And I know it's a shocking thing to say, but if somebody came out there with a Jamaican accent, remember when Kofi Kingston used to come out with a Jamaican accent? I couldn't take him serious either. No, that's why Sheamus, I can't really take Sheamus. Becky Lynch, I can't take Becky Lynch seriously, man. When she comes out, she's like, "I'm the Irish Lassie," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." I can't
it's just
take
something
it serious.
About it, right? I don't mean it it's nothing. I'm not talking about the people. Yeah, it's just something about it. Like,
even when Sheamus was to do that Kiss Me Arse match,
well,
I couldn't believe
the
it.
Sheamus thing, like that's bad. And I agree with what you're saying. But, like, Sheamus look Irish as fuck. Like, the man is one. Like, as soon as you look at it, you're like, well, he's Irish. So you kind of expect it, right? Like, when he starts talking, you're just like, oh yeah, look at this Irish fucking retard. Balor just has, like you said, the demon thing is not remotely Irish, and then he has he wears black, and he wears a black coat, and his music is like hard rock. It's not really Irish. He's got nothing about him that's Irish. And then he gets on the mic and he's 100% unadulterated Irish. And you're like, okay. Like, this just comes off really weird.
I said this last week. I don't really like how they debuted him anyway. I don't like that he just came out. Finn Balor's here, and he walks out.
Well, you know why? He's going to show up SummerSlam and come out because it's a big show as a demon. Nobody's going to know what the fuck's going on. Because as far as I know, they haven't even mentioned that he does that yet, have they?
No.
So he's gonna come out dressed up in all this paint, and nobody's even gonna know who the hell he is. He's gonna be like, is that Finn Balor? Like, what did he turn into, a fuck freak show? That's what people are gonna think, and it makes some sense.
That's why I assumed that maybe the first Fatal 4-Way on Raw, he'd come out and he'd wrestle it, and maybe the main event he'd come out with the demon makeup on. Only thing is about that demon makeup takes like 6 hours to put on.
Yeah. Well, what I probably would have done is, first of all, like, I don't really have a problem with. I kind of do and I don't. I don't really have a problem with them announcing them like with the roster beforehand and coming out before the match because, like I said, I don't think a lot of people know who he is. Like, a lot of people do, but a lot of people don't. So they're just trying to familiarize him with people with him. But I think it probably would have been a bit better. This is just me personally because I know who he is. Is if that Fatal 4-Way was 3 people and then a surprise entrant, and it would have been saved for the last one of the night, like the second one.
Yeah.
And then he came out, like, they already had the Sheamus match, and he done that, and Reigns won it. And then the second one at, like, 9 o'clock, like, nobody's even mentioned Balor yet. And all 3 guys are in the ring, and then Balor's music comes, and he comes. That would have, I would have rather.
And then immediately after that, had the main event, is what you're saying. Like,
yeah,
as soon as that Fatal 4-Way ends, he wins the Fatal 4-Way, Reigns comes out, he's still dressed in a demon makeup, and then he fights. Yeah. I think it would have been a more of an impact. It would have been more of a spectacle than him just walking out with a leather jacket on.
Yeah.
Now,
he's an interesting case. He's going to be like one of those guys where he's going to be like Bryan was kind of thing, but like, well, Bryan, I don't know about that because Bryan got like super, super popular, obviously, but Balor's interesting, man. Like, I don't even know what to think about this guy yet. Like, I mean, like, because it's been 2 weeks, right? Like, I'm not even going to have an opinion on him yet. I don't know. I want to see him wrestle and get used to him a bit. Like, I'm not going to shit on him and I'm not going to praise him. I just don't know anything about him. Like, I'm shocked the fuck that he is where he is in the first couple weeks, but I don't know. I don't know what to think of him. Like, he's a weird guy. Like, he's really small. He's smaller than Michael Cole, for God's sakes. When Michael Cole's in the ring, fuck, Cole's towering over him, man. So it's like, I think what they got to do, and I don't know, maybe you could, I don't know what you think about this, but the only time really small guys ever worked, like Daniel Bryan, was when they were portrayed as the underdog, and they're not portraying Balor as an underdog yet. They're kind of just ignoring his size. Like, they don't want people to talk about it like the elephant in the room. And first 2 weeks, they haven't mentioned that this guy's literally like 140 fucking pounds. And they're portraying him as like he got just as good a chance as anybody and he's a regular wrestler. The fans don't tend to get behind really small guys unless they're portrayed as like the Rey Mysterios and Daniel Bryans. But then, so do you think they should go that way with him maybe? And just, like, should we just get it out in the open and say, listen, we know this guy's like 150 fucking pound, he's an underdog, or do they just kind of ignore it and push him without even mentioning it? Like, what do you think they should do, like, going forward next 6 months or so, say?
Well, see, what I would probably do, next week on Raw, I would have him, like, get beat down, like, so bad. I'd have Rollins absolutely destroy him. Make him look weak as fuck, right? Make everybody believe there's no chance in hell he's going to beat Rollins at SummerSlam, right? This is what I would do. Then when SummerSlam happens and he comes out in the demon paint and everything else, he's done up like that. Then he comes out and he's strong against Rollins. So then people get that contrast of, oh, okay, I get it. So when he's the demon, he's stronger than what he is beforehand. Because that's what they did in NXT. So he lost against Kevin Owens the first couple of times. Kevin Owens beat him the first couple of times for the NXT title. Then in Japan, when he did that Beast in the East thing, he took on Kevin Owens in a ladder match, and he came out with the demon makeup on and beats Kevin Owens because he was the demon. He tapped into his darkness, and it gave him that extra edge over Owens.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what they need to make a contrast, because right now he looks super strong. Okay, he beat Rusev in a fatal 4-way.
That's what I mean, right?
And he beat Roman Reigns in the same night, clean, both of them. Like,
yeah, but the thing is,
you can't be booked any stronger than that.
No, and like the thing is that's.
And he beat, he got over on Rollins last night.
I would have probably had if they wanted to put him in the main event. Like, I wouldn't have put him in the main event of SummerSlam. That's just me. I think they're rushing it way too quick with the guy, because I don't even think he's that over. Like, he's not. His pop is average at best. Like, he's not as over as Cesaro or anyone or Owens. So I don't think they should have done it yet. I would have waited. But if they're going to do it, because it's fresh and they're obviously catering to the minority on putting them in the main event. But if they're going to do it, the weird thing is you know how long did it take Bryan before he actually beat those two guys that one night at Mania? Like a year and a half it took him. You know what I mean? It was built
it up.
Well, Bryan always got screwed, and finally, after like fucking 18 months, he beat Batista and Orton in that match at the same night. But it took forever. With Balor, he came in right away, and two super heavyweights too, man. Like, Rusev's a goddamn fucking monster, first of all. Like, I know he's upper mid card too. He's U.S. champion,
but he's still U.S. champ, yeah.
And he's a goddamn tank, by the way. And then Reigns, to say what you want about him, is like 6'6" and 260. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Like, they actually got my attention. So for better or worse, I don't know if the casuals are going to catch on to this guy. I'm a bit worried about that. Only because of the accent and his size, but we'll see. Maybe he can. It's hard to say, man. Like,
that's why
I just don't know what to think yet.
If they would have brought him out as the demon, it would have been easier to hide him being on the mic, because you can keep him as this quiet, like, menacing demon character.
Well, he'd be mysterious, right? Like, who is he? And
like for the Undertaker didn't speak for fucking years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was just this dead man standing there in the corner, and Paul Bearer spoke for him. So you could have him come out, and just like Rollins calls him out or whatever, and then he comes out and he just like plods around the ring, being all weird and kind of deal, and just kind of stares him down and leaves. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't have to have anybody speak. Jericho did it for a while. Remember when Jericho come back and he did that whole thing where he didn't speak? He used to just walk out and he'd just stare at you and just walk away and stuff.
The thing is, typically, like Vince anyway, he wants his champion to obviously not be like even Taker. He's been 5 years in. When he was before he got into that whole Paul Bearer earn thing, he was only the champion once, and it was for like 3 months. Like, in all the 90s, the whole fucking 90s, he never held a belt at all. Because he was so mysterious. Vince wants people that can go on fucking talk shows, and so if they're gonna, that's what I mean. They just gotta figure out what they're gonna do with him. Like, and I don't know what they're gonna do. Like, you can spend a whole podcast just talking about it, because I don't really know like what they're gonna do with this guy. It's very interesting to me. I'm confused. I'm almost confused by him, if that makes any sense. Like, for the first time in a while, I don't know what everything that a wrestler should be in the main event scene, he doesn't have. But he does have a good look, because he's like a handsome guy and the girls like him and everything. And he can wrestle. So it's like... But on the other hand, his mic skills are, well, pretty bad. And he's really, really, really small. But, so it's like this... I don't know, man. I'm confused with Balor. I gotta say, I can't wait till SummerSlam to see what they're gonna do with him. Like I said, I'm assuming he's gonna lose, but... Fuck, I thought he was gonna lose against Reigns too, man. He ended up winning that. So,
yeah, I don't know if they're just pulling it over on everybody, because... The rumors are that he's booked to have a feud with Chris Jericho. Well, now that's at the house shows. Now that's card subject to change, so they can change it anytime they want. But that's what they have him booked, is Chris Jericho. He's going to be doing the house show circuit with him. So people are just saying that they assume he's going to be feuding with Jericho afterwards, because it seems like they put all the new guys with Jericho.
Yeah.
Right? That's what the thing has been. Owens goes with feuds with Jericho. Styles fused with Jericho. It's almost like their lead-in into the main roster has to go through Jericho first.
Well, Jericho has turned in, like, the last 3-4 months, my God, he's on fucking fire, man. Like, I swear to God, Jericho has turned in... He's almost as funny now as he was back in WCW when he was coming out with old Ralph, or whatever his name was. Remember old fat fella he was coming out with?
The Jericho personal security.
Yeah, the personal security, like, he was hilarious back then. The last few months, like, even last night on Raw, he saved that. Well, let's talk about Raw for a second. The opening segment, if Jericho didn't come out, I was about to shoot myself in the fucking face. Like, God love Enzo. He's a pretty good he's good on the mic. But last night, him and that Sasha thing, and him is he having a goddamn seizure, is he? Or something? Like, what, was he epileptic or something? What's wrong with him? Like, he was out talking to when the three of them were in the ring, I was like, kill me right now, please. Because Enzo, sometimes, like I said, he's good on the mic, but man, he can be corny as all fuck sometimes. You're like, oh my god. And Jericho comes out, this is just obviously my opinion. When Jericho came out, he was fucking hilarious. He saved the segment. Like, Jericho just literally took that segment from the depths of hell and brought it back to earth. It was actually, like, thank God Jericho came out. Other than that, and another thing, by the way, 31 minutes until the first match started, I think it was, I counted.
Yeah, something like that. I remember I messaged you. It was 9:55, and it was a commercial after that first segment.
Segment on way too long.
Even if it went on 20 minutes, is too long for it.
Well, it was 20 minutes. The segment was because then he went to commercial, right?
Yeah, for those people, it's 20 minutes is way too long to have Sasha, Charlotte, Enzo. Yes, Jericho can get out there and talk, but still, even 20 minutes is long for a segment, man.
I think it was more actually, man. I think it actually went like 23 minutes was the opening segment. And it was funny because when Raw starts off with a match, like an actual match, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, they go to commercial like 3-4 minutes in. Yeah. And I was telling you how it's funny how they don't go to commercial when Triple H is out there blabbing for fucking 20 minutes or something. Last night was a perfect example. They went, like, it starts at 8 o'clock up here, so 8:23 they went to commercial. They came back at like 8:27, 8:28. And then they did entrances, like kind of like a couple of minutes, not entrances, but they all kind of got the match together. I think it was 31 after when the match actually started. I'm like, okay. So right off the bat...
I messaged you 25 minutes in. The commercial ended a little bit after that. Then Cole and Saxton and Corey Graves were up there talking. They showed the commentating team and where their new place was. And you could see him getting ready in the ring behind them. So that took a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
And, I mean... When it started, it was just a mixed tag match. And you had the whole, like, Foley at the end of it coming out and saying how he was a certified GM and all this other stuff.
Okay, I got a question for you about Foley. Please answer this for me. I thought the whole point... This makes no fucking sense. The whole point of them having GMs, I thought, was that they were basically going to do stuff behind the scenes on the show, like actually run the show. But the GMs were going to come out and be the GM. What the fuck's the point of Foley being a GM if Stephanie's there the whole goddamn time anyway? Why doesn't she just run it herself? I don't even understand what Stephanie's doing there. Like, so Foley comes out and Stephanie's right there with him. Sure, doesn't that make Foley's job completely fucking irrelevant? So it's basically like Shane and Stephanie are there again now, only they replace Shane with Foley. It's the two of them are looking at each other, wondering what each other's doing, congratulating each other on, yo, that was a nice match you just made. Yes, that's going to be a fantastic match. Good job, Foley. What? That's not what I thought it was going to be. When Vince said you're going to operate, basically run the show, as soon as they announced the GM, I thought that Shane and Stephanie were going away, and Brian and Foley were going to be like the typical GM who comes out and makes matches. But that's not what's happening. Shane and, from what I can tell, Shane and Stephanie are going to be on the show the whole time anyway. Yeah, so what's the point of the fucking GM?
Makes no sense. It's just almost like they're like
there's two GMs
or something like this. Like.
It's like, they took like the Shane and Steph storyline of both running Raw.
Makes no sense because they're saying that Stephanie's the commissioner, Shane's the commissioner. Then there's GMs under the commissioner, but weren't the commissioners and GMs the same thing back in the day?
It's the same. Well, it still is the same thing. It's the same job. But like, so Foley doesn't even make matches without Stephanie kind of standing right next to him, going like, "Okay, what do you think, Foley?" And he's like, "What do you think we should do tonight, Steph?" And they're in cahoots. They're just talking to each other like it was with shit. It makes no sense. So that was a complete fucking waste of time. What I'm saying is, what a waste of fucking time. Why is Foley even there, man?
Yeah. And every backstage segment is Foley and Stephanie.
And Steph. That's what I mean. Like,
I don't know.
So, hold on. Let me get you straight. This just makes some sense. Shane came back, and Stephanie and Shane were fighting over who was going to run each show because they both wanted to be in control of the show. Vince separates them both and gives them a GM to run the show. Shouldn't they be like, I don't want a GM, I want to control the show myself. Fuck Mick Foley, I don't want him here. Shouldn't she be trying to get rid of Foley? Like, didn't she want to run the show by herself? That was the whole goddamn point of the storyline this whole year. Foley comes in. For some reason, she's perfectly happy with old Mick Foley there running the show. Like, what the fuck? I don't even understand what's going on. Like, it makes no sense.
I think this whole, like, who's running what show and Shane coming back to get control of Raw is a fucking stupid clusterfuck for one. Well, for one thing, this made no sense. I said this to you before, and I said it on the podcast before. So Shane comes back. He fights Undertaker, almost kills himself at WrestleMania to try to get control of Raw. So they give him control of Raw for a few weeks. Stephanie comes back. They're fighting over Raw. Now they're going to make SmackDown live, and they want somebody to run SmackDown. So all of a sudden, Shane and Stephanie completely forget about Raw. Neither one of them wants to run Raw anymore. They want SmackDown now. So Shane just almost killed himself for a show he doesn't even want anymore. So they give Shane SmackDown. Shane's running around like super happy by... Didn't you just jump off like a fucking 20-foot cage to get this control of the other show? Like,
why the kids were in the front row crying that Daddy just killed himself? Like,
yeah, so why... You should have been like sad. You should have been like, shit, now I got SmackDown. Fuck that place. Like, I want Raw. I want Raw the whole time.
I don't know, man.
That makes no sense, man.
Like, all of it, and then how the hell did we go from Shane and Stephanie running Raw, or wanting to run Raw, to him jumping off a cell, to the Undertaker feud not making any sense, to Vince coming back and saying that you're both running Raw, to then Vince coming back and saying now Shane's going to SmackDown, Stephanie's running Raw, but then Daniel Bryan comes in and runs SmackDown, and Mick Foley comes in and runs Raw, yet Stephanie and Shane are still there. What the fuck is going on?
I don't know.
Like, that, all that happened in the last, like, 3 months.
Yeah, and none of it makes any goddamn sense.
And none of it still makes no sense, because you turn on Raw, and it's just still there. Like, it's the same shit. It's like nothing even... So all that happened, like, there's this big fucking tornado of shit for the last, like, 4 months. If someone missed Raw for the last 4 months and didn't know, they turn on Raw down and be like, oh, there's Stephanie backstage running the show. Oh, pretty good. Just like nothing changed. I don't... Yeah. So, whatever. So that was...
we should probably talk about how it ended. How Raw ended last night. Because that is fucking bullshit.
Well, yeah, like, I'm 50-50 on that because like I didn't mind it, but at the same time I was horribly disgusted at the same time. I texted you like
again makes no fucking sense. So Lesnar comes out, he's talking. 1 week later, Orton runs out, RKO's him. So Orton's on SmackDown. Already, SmackDown people are going on to Raw and like coming over, crossing over shows already. 1 week in, I think it's the fastest turn for something ever.
Well, it's huge, and anybody that's younger, like, there's a bit of a backstory to this. So what happened was, in 2002 or something, when they did the original draft, SmackDown and Raw, for the first 2 or 3 years, like, SmackDown had Paul Heyman run it, and Raw had Vince run it, and both shows were, well, not the Attitude Era, they were moderately successful, like, business was on the downturn.
They were ruthless aggression era.
Yeah, like, it was a bad era for making money, I think, and everything, but the product was decent on SmackDown. Raw was horrible with Triple H running rampant over everybody. But anyway, it worked out okay on the surface because you had 2 shows and there was 2 different creatives. The reason why the brand split, this is kind of what happened, just a history lesson, was because they started watering it down by putting Raw people on SmackDown and Raw people on, or SmackDown people on Raw, and then it kind of lost its luster, like it didn't have the fizz anymore because all of a sudden it's like, well, you've devalued the brand split, and then all of a sudden, maybe like 4 years in, every week, it was like, it's not even like John Cena was on Raw, he'd be on SmackDown every week, and vice versa, and it was just turned into like nobody even cared about this whole brand split anymore because it just lost all its luster and it kind of ruined it. That's what makes this so fucking hilarious to anyone that's like a newer fan. Is like he just said 1 week. That's it. First week, and we got Randy Orton showing up on Raw when he just got drafted to SmackDown. Like I said last night, I figured it'd take at least 3 months for him to ruin it, but. Like, I don't mind, they had to do something. I understand why they did it, I suppose is what I'm saying. Because almighty, they had to do something to try to get this...
Why even have them on separate brands? Okay, Lesnar's going to be super part-time. I guarantee you're going to see Lesnar, like, 4 times between now and WrestleMania. So why not just draft him to SmackDown?
I don't know. Like, I don't even know why...
on the same show.
I don't know. Like, yeah, it just... Now, you know Lesnar's going to show up on fucking SmackDown and get his revenge. That's the worst part. How long?
That's going to be so... Again, it's ridiculous because You got them both of them back and forth. What was the fucking point of the draft in the first place?
I don't know. There's no point, man. Like, and then they did the security thing running after Orton. So this is the best part. On top of all that, like I said, I didn't mind the angle. Like Orton came out of nowhere and did it all RK out of nowhere. The crowd was hot for it. Everybody liked it. It was like it finally had like a bit of a big fight feel to it because everybody was on their feet and it was okay. But the way it happened was complete fucking bullshit. But you know what's going on the dark matches for Raw and SmackDown? You do know that tonight on SmackDown, all the Raw wrestlers are in dark matches.
Yes, I read that before.
And last night there was a 6-man tag for SmackDown people after Raw went off the air.
I read that too. I read it even last week. The first shows, the dark matches were like mixed between each other. I think last week was like John Cena, Enzo and Cass versus AJ Styles and the Club or something in a dark match. All of them on different shows.
Like what are we doing here? Like, I don't know. I don't understand the brand split thing. Like, I can understand why they did it. I understand why. Obviously, they had to do something with Orton and Lesnar. But like you said, why did he just draft them on the same goddamn show? Who gives a fuck?
Let's talk about how fat Orton is.
Orton's definitely have to put on a few unwanted poundage.
What the hell's up there, man? He got even my wife Stacey. She even noticed it. Like his legs are all fat and stuff. Like
his legs looks like fucking Dick Murdoch's legs or something. Or
I'm not going to say
Volkov.
I'm not going to say I'm in deadly shape or not. I'm pretty fat myself. But Buddy's in WWE superstar. Like, he was in phenomenal shape a few years ago. But he took his shirt off last night. He got a few rolls. Buddy ain't showing no six-pack no more.
No, and they even said that he could have come back probably like 6 months ago, but he was just a lazy piece of shit watching TV and didn't even want to come back. So, I don't think he's got the... Just like you said before, there's a reason why Cena was the face of the company and not Orton. Because Cena had the drive to go do all that extra shit, put the time in. Orton,
his attitude is bad. Didn't,
but he got like, yeah, the guy's freaking obvious. And what are he dead? Did he ever fucking hair tell of a fucking tanning babe? Holy crap, man! He looks fucking goddamn. It's like fucking Irish all of a sudden, doesn't he? He's got no tan or anything anymore. Like he looks. I don't know. Maybe he just needs to get back in the rhythm of it or something. But he definitely don't look like the same Randy Orton from a couple of years ago.
There's another thing that you mentioned last night about how Mick Foley said to Cesaro that he wasn't he wasn't picked higher in the draft because of his shoulder injury. But Seth Rollins picked number 1, and then SmackDown picks Randy Orton like number fucking 4 or something. Buddy's been out 9 months because he took the garbage out and fucking broke his shoulder.
That was amazing.
If anybody doesn't know the story, that's how Randy Orton got hurt. He was
taking out his fucking recycling, wasn't he?
He was taking out his garbage to the corner and dislocated his shoulder, bringing the garbage bag out.
So
he's out 9 months.
Yeah, he's out 9 months with a shoulder injury from a fucking old pop can or something. It was like, and how long did Rollins miss? Like, Jesus, Rollins got for a year, man.
A year, yeah.
So he's like, well, honestly, Cesaro, you probably would have been drafted top 5 if it wasn't for your medical report on your shoulder. And I'm like, boy, pretty sure he just drafted Rollins or one, but he's been out for like, I haven't even seen Rollins for like 6 years, man. The guy's been out with him. So that's good logic. There were some other little things last night. Like, there's some stuff that the best jobber in the WWE today is definitely Heath Slater, by the way. Like, he's actually a good jobber because he's good on the mic. But I would... Jinder Mahal, please... okay. I forgot who he was until you told me who he was.
So yeah,
last night's...
Backstory on Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal used to be in the 3-man band. It used to be Drew Galloway, Jinder Mahal, and Heath Slater.
Yeah, I remember him now.
They were like Jobber Central there. And then they all got fired except for Heath Slater. And he went on to, like, you know, what he's doing now.
So why are they bringing him, like, are they filling up the fucking roster with just jobbers?
This is what I don't get. This is what I said last night. So they're bringing him in. He's just going to be nothing. He's going to be a nobody. They're doing the same thing on SmackDown. Like, they brought back Rhino. Like, give me a fucking break. Like, it's not like you're going to give Rhino a push, right? Even Shelton Benjamin, he was good back in the day. They're not going to give him push. So, no. I don't know why they're doing this. They're padding out the roster with these like losers.
Well, what they're doing is kind of like, it's very odd to me. So the time of wrestling from, say, like 2006 to like 2009, I consider that to be fucking horrible. It was bad. It was when like DX came back and they were shitting on McMahon's head and all this old crap.
Spirit Squad.
And it was a bad time for wrestling, but the mid-card scene for those 3 or 4 years are guys that never ever made it to the main event scene, and this is 10 years ago. So why do you think that these guys are going to come back 10 years later, and they couldn't even be a main eventer back then, and contribute remotely in a positive fashion to this show? Makes no sense. All these guys, I didn't watch wrestling as much during them, because you know what? I got this Chris Masters, MVP, Shelton Benjamin, all these Rhino,
Drew Galloway,
Drew McIntyre, Jinder Mahal, Spirit Squad. All these guys are all from the same era. The Paul
Burchill.
Kendrick and Burchill, and Brian Kendrick and Jimmy Wang Yang. These were all the mid-card guys from like 2006, 2010. And they were shit. I didn't even like any of them really. I was like, these guys are all boring, man. So that wasn't, now 10 years later.
Half of them I forgot even had titles.
Victoria and who'd you say was coming back?
Apparently, Victoria and Melina are rumored to be coming back. Now, Victoria tweeted out yesterday, she said something along the lines, I don't know, it's not a direct quote, but along the lines of that SmackDown Tuesday night's going to be surprising or something. You'll have to stay tuned. So she was kind of dropping a hint that she's coming back. Now, I read today that Melina's might be coming back as well.
Again, Melina's for the same time with John Morrison and
Johnny Nitro.
Wasn't it? Well, yeah, like that tag team. That was another tag team they had. All these guys I had no interest in them at the time. So now, this was the mid-card scene that I'm supposed to 10 years later be like, oh, this is good. I know what they're doing. They're trying to fill roster.
Yeah. What makes no sense though is I can understand filling up SmackDown a bit, but they got the Cruiserweight division coming to Raw. Yeah. So you got so much more new talent coming into Raw. You don't need to pad it out with Jinder Mahal. You're gonna have guys like Kota Ibushi and fucking T.J. Perkins and Zack Sabre Jr. and these guys on Raw in this Cruiserweight division. You don't need to pad it out with fucking Jinder Mahal and Heath Slater and these guys. You know what I mean? You don't need to. Yes, SmackDown might need to because there's nothing over on SmackDown.
Well, I don't even understand why. Heath Slater fucking. I'll go against the grain on him. I think he's fucking fat. I don't know why he doesn't get a push, man. Like, the guy's got more mic skills than 90% of the goddamn roster. He can actually wrestle. There's nothing bad about him. He's never got a chance. I don't even understand. I've always said it. Even from back in the day, I was like, what's wrong with this guy? I was like, he can wrestle. He's fucking primo on the mic when he gets going. He actually got a bit of personality, and they just job him out all the time. Like, I don't care. He's only a jobber. I'm not really upset about it. But I find it hilarious that they push all these guys. Like, it's not like fucking guy can't wrestle or anything, man. Like, it's like, this is what I've taken out of since the draft happened. Like, this is like, you know what's happening, right? Is Vince is slowly backing away, it seems like. So, there's like, everybody got this big hard on for Triple H to take over. But Triple H is an indie mark for sure. Like, oh God, yes. So it's going to go from the days of, what was Vince? If you're big and strong, can't wrestle because talking to Mike, he loved the muscle guys, right? That was Vince for 30 years. Now you're starting to see Triple H's fingerprints all over the fucking thing, right? So now it's the Sami Zayn's and the Finn Balor's and all this. This is the new way that wrestling's going to go because Triple H is going to take over. And Triple H got no time for these big old muscle freaks, even though he's one. But you can almost see it transition. Like, we're in the middle of, from what I can see anyway, I don't know if everybody even realizes it, but we're going to look back at this period in like 10 years because Vince is 70. And we're going to be like 2015, 16, 17. That's when you could really see Vince stepping back and Triple H taking over, and Triple H by that time will be completely in charge, I'm sure. But I'm pretty sure we're kind of witnessing like the whole thing happening every week to week right before us, because all this that's happening lately seems to be Triple H's kind of like he's doing. I think it's not Vince. You don't think Vince got fucking Finn Balor in the main event of SummerSlam by choice, do you? He's fucking Vince McMahon. He wants Braun Strowman there.
Well, we're experiencing what they experienced in the early '80s when Vince took over from his father. Because if you look at then, they had Bob Backlund and Iron Sheik, and these guys as champion as Vince's father did, and Arnold Scotland and Bruno Sammartino and these guys as champion. Then you look at when Vince took over in the early '80s, who'd you have as champion? Hulk Hogan for fucking 7 years or whatever he had it for.
Well, you had all the characters, right? Hogan, Macho Man, fucking
Ultimate Warrior.
All these guys that were like colorful and. Yeah, like, and that's exactly what
you went from having the really actual strong guys, like I said, like Bruno Sammartino. He didn't look like a superstar, but he looked like a fucking gorilla. Like, he was just big and hairy and just a big dude. You went from that to this bodybuilding blonde hair, like chiseled out,
surfer dude.
Yeah, like this. He looks like he's fucking chiseled in stone kind of deal. Big old arms and this kind of. That's what you moved into, and then you had like same thing with Ultimate Warrior. Like you said, Macho Man. Macho Man was ripped at the time, and he was a big dude as well.
Oh yeah, it's just happening again, really.
That's what I went to then. The weird thing was
30 years later, here we are, right? Like, and the narrative's still the same 30 years later.
The weird thing was that Vince changed in the 90s, which was kind of weird, because he changed from that, cartoonish, usually that kind of change comes when somebody else takes over. But Vince himself changed. Now...
Well, Vince just went with the times. This is like Vince Sr. to Vince Jr. now, though.
This is what... He's not really going with the times. He's changing the guard at this point, right?
Someone else taking over, right?
Yeah, because I'm sure that Triple H takes over now. If 10 years from now, or even 15 years from now, when everything changes, the times change, I'm sure Triple H is going to do the same thing that Vince did back in the 90s and change with the times.
I would imagine, yeah.
I'm sure
it's going to be like
Vince Sr.
Get a mixture.
I don't know how long Vince Sr. was running or had the WWF, but I'm sure at some point he had to change from probably, one thing to the next. He had to probably change from circus wrestling, that kind of pro wrestling, into an actual stadium show, and then Vince took that over. You know what I mean? So everybody has to change with the times, but I think, we're seeing a bit of a passing of the guard. I honestly, I fall into it with you a little bit, because I don't know what to expect, because I see a lot of these indie guys, and as Triple H is a mark for these indie guys coming in, but I still believe that stars need to be made. They need to book them correctly, they need to book them right. You can't rely on a guy that just knows how to wrestle. That can't be what they does, because that doesn't make a star. They can't say, Finn Balor can wrestle, give him the title shot, or give him the title. That doesn't work that way, man. You might be...
works. That works in Brooklyn when you got 500 people in the audience, right?
Yeah, even in Japan. Like, they talk about, we come from Japan, he's a major star in Japan. Japan's a whole different audience than what you're looking at in North America. Yeah. You need to make that guy a star. You need to book him correctly. You need to make sure he's doing good promos, give him good segments, make him look strong in the ring.
Star, man.
You got to build him. You can't just be like, okay, first match, you get a title shot, you win the title, you're a star now. People's going to be like, okay, well, how am I supposed to believe this guy's credible at all?
Well, apparently Triple H is like a huge mark for Balor. Like, I've been reading that for a long time.
Well, I'm a huge mark for Balor as well. He's probably my favorite wrestler on the go right now.
He don't like. It's like what Vince needs to do, and Triple H or whoever the fuck is. Well, Vince is still running it, I guess. But somehow they've got to get people to like Balor and like Zayn and like Neville. And like all these fucking Styles and all these indie guys, they gotta get the casual fan to be as invested and to like him as much as you do right now. So most people don't have the experience of watching him for the last year or 2 or 3 or 4, whatever it's been. You're already invested. He's your favorite wrestler. That's good. Somehow they gotta make people that don't go out of their way to watch YouTube videos, Japan wrestling, NXT. How do they get casual people to be as invested in Balor as you are as a mark, right? So that's the problem that they got to get through. Is it's okay for us, but unfortunately we're just like a minority. We're like a little group in the corner that won't shut up. We're like, hey, listen to us, but we don't make up. We make up 10% of the audience. So how can they get Joe Sixpack to go? That Finn Balor, he's my favorite wrestler right now.
Well, I think that comes.
I think they're kind of missing, but they're not doing it in my opinion. They're missing the boat the last 3, 4. Daniel Bryan was the last one, and that happened only because the guy was fucking charismatic and got himself over. WWE didn't get Daniel Bryan over. As much as they are going to revise history and show video packages 10 years from now on the network showing how Vince knew that Bryan had something, he had a twinkle in his eye, and I knew he would be a star and all this. No, Daniel Bryan got himself over just because he was Daniel Bryan. He was an anomaly. It was one time that guy got over someone that size. That is the exception there. That is a fucking anomaly what happened to Bryan.
I think
so.
Punk would
I don't
probably
think
be the
they're
other
doing a
one.
good job of it. Who?
I'd say CM Punk would probably be the one before that.
Well, Punk had it. Yeah, again, Punk. This is another thing about Punk is he wasn't the biggest guy in the fight, but so Bryan could wrestle and had exceptional amount of charisma and just the fans just loved him because of the underdog. What did Punk have besides wrestling Billy and being small? The guy could talk his ass off.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Since
I think
Punk and
people
Bryan,
got behind him because
that's
he could
why
talk.
everyone compared and that's why everyone compared Punk and Bryan to Hart and Michaels, because it was just like that was the last two. Now the question is, that was the unfortunate part is, man, is we're looking at like 4 years ago almost now since those guys had their moment. It's been 4 years. It's longer than you think. Nobody's come along since, and the way they're doing it these days, I don't see them building a crossover star the way they're doing it. So my only question will be, if they're going to go from the big guy and the muscle head who can go in there and go on cereal boxes and have ice cream bars and eat your vitamins, they're going to go from that to indies, which is where Triple H is taking the company. This is an indie company on a big stage basically right now. Then along the way, you still got to make the star. And I'm going to be interested to see in the next 2 or 3 years if they can get out of this funk they're in, which is basically just throwing indie guys in with the storyline of, like we said, I've won everywhere but not here. Go out there and wrestle and see if you get over. Because that's what they do. They basically just throw you out there and say, everyone will know who you are. You wrestled in Japan. That's not how it works. I want to see if they can start building people again. And it's going to... Well, Balor's the first one. Let's see what happens with Balor. Let's see if they can pull the trigger on him.
I think that they need to take something from the 80s and 90s and mix it with what they have now. So they need to... I think Vince needs to teach Triple H how he made stars in the 80s and 90s, and Triple H needs to apply that to some of these indie guys that have the ability to do so. So if he believes that Balor can be a big star, well, Vince needs to say, well, to get him to make him a big star, you need to make him look strong. He needs to be able to talk. Well, guess what? Balor's not the best talker right now. Put him in, give him acting classes. There's ways to do this stuff, right? Like, give him some experience. Maybe he can get out in the fucking house shows and just cut promos and just try to practice it a bit. Yeah. Give him some good scripts. You know how they're writing scripts for him now? You need to give him some good material. You can't give him shit. So,
I agree.
I think that's what we'll end the show on. Just the fact that I think they need to mix the old school with the new school to make the new era.
Yeah, I think it's the land of confusion right now. Really, in a little bit of a way. Like I don't know. It's like they're losing a lot of the people. I know the show got to end soon. Sorry, I'm just gonna say when I say I think a lot of people aren't watching wrestling these days because I think for the first time in maybe, well, the last 5 years, say, but the first time since the 80s and 90s, wrestling always had an identity. It really did. Like if you were a wrestling fan, you knew what you were getting. In the 80s, you had the big guys, you had a lot of tag teams, you had colorful characters. That was what, you knew what it was. It was cartoonish. In the 90s, you went from wrestling with like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, and 1-2-3 Kid and Razor and all that, to the Attitude Era. And the Attitude Era was very distinctive. You knew what you got. Right now, it's just, wrestling to me, and I think people aren't watching it because of this, it's just, it does not have an identity. You don't know really what you're watching. It's like, one segment, it's not even variety either. Don't get this confused with variety. It's like they don't even know what they want to do. It's like they want to push the indie guys, but Vince is still back there pulling them back, going, not quite yet. So they're still pushing the Braun Strowmans. They don't know. I don't think they know what they're doing, man. So I think we're in the middle of the next year or so. It's going to be interesting to see in what direction this company is going to go in the next 5 years. Because I don't think they actually know, to be honest with you. I don't think they know what they're doing.
What does it for me is that when I hear casual fans, so if I'm watching wrestling and somebody asks me what I'm doing, and I say I'm watching wrestling, and they're like, "Oh, I haven't watched wrestling in years," and they're like, "Who's the champion now?" And I'm like, "Dean Ambrose," and they're like, "Who the fuck is that?" Right? And then I'm like, "Well, he just beat Seth Rollins," and they're like, "Who's Seth Rollins?" And I'm like, "Well, do you know who John Cena is?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, I know who John Cena is." Well, John Cena just beat AJ Styles, and they're like, "Who the fuck's AJ Styles?" And then they're like totally lost because they don't know anybody but John Cena and Brock Lesnar. No. That's who they know.
And you know what? That guy that you're talking to, he ain't going to turn on fucking Monday Night Raw and sit down and watch a 30-minute match between Sami Zayn and AJ Styles.
No. But he's the same guy that says, "Man, I remember Stone Cold and The Rock and Undertaker and Mankind." And then he'll be like, "Man," or you got even the other ones who are like, "I remember Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, Ultimate Warrior, Jake the Snake." And
it's the two eras, right?
Yeah. That's right now. Wrestling is two eras. If you're between the ages of 20 and 50, and you're not a wrestling fan, you know of those two eras. That's it. There's nothing in between. There's nothing afterwards. No. Wrestling ended in 2001.
Yeah, pretty much. And well, except for
John Cena,
which is basically, and I'm just getting ready to say that I fear because wrestling is I don't know if it's dying or not, but it's slowly fading away out of pop culture even more than it used to be. But I know they boast their YouTube numbers and they lie about their Twitter accounts and they lie about what the trend is. That's all bullshit, But the last star that they created, like on the level of Austin, Hogan, and Rock, was Cena, and Vince McMahon probably doesn't have it in him to create any more stars. He's too
That's why
old.
I said he got to teach Triple H.
Can Triple H? Yes, but you can't. There's some shit you just can't teach. You can't teach like Steve Austin didn't go to acting school. The Rock didn't go to acting school. These guys just had it. John Cena didn't go to acting school, and Vince McMahon didn't get taught really how, because his old man didn't teach him how to do what he did. Because his old man didn't even want him to do what he did to take it national. So Vince didn't get taught that. He just knew how to do it. The thing is now, is it even possible? Can Triple H and Stephanie McMahon create in the next 10 years Austin, Rock, Hogan, Cena, and insert? Because there's lots of big stars. Daniel Bryan and CM Punk were big stars. Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels were big stars. They weren't Austin, Rock, Cena, and Hogan. Can Triple H create a guy on that level without Vince McMahon there? And that scares me. Because people can shit on Vince McMahon all they want. But that guy, when it comes to making... every era had a big fucking star, man. He knows how to do it. And when Vince leaves in the next few years, it's in the 2020s, what's coming up, it's going to be Triple H's job to make the next Cena. And getting by on Batistas and Ortons and Punks and Bryans and Balors and all that is not enough. You need the megastar. You need one or two of them on the roster at all times. And right now with Cena fading out a little bit, even though he's still on Teen Choice and fucking FCs and all that, is next few years, can they make it? And that's the question that I'm going to leave you with for Ringside.
I think we'll leave that. Yeah, that's the $5 million, the $10 million question right there. We'll leave it.
$20
million question.
Oh, by the way, I'm going to die tonight too because I'm going on a plane to BC. So this is my last podcast.
Well, he's going to die in a horrible plane crash on the way to BC. So yeah, we'll leave it with that question. So the question of the week is: can Triple H create a new major wrestling star in the next 10 years? So.
Without the help of Vinnie Mac.
So yeah, that's Ringside Reality for another week.
Goodbye, everybody. I'm leaving to go to British Columbia, and I won't be back for a week and a half. But you all have a good time now.
Later, hopefully, Chris doesn't die in a horrible plane crash. All right, later.
See you, everybody.